feel like the more fascinating thing about the concept of human hate, how humans can hate classes of people, like blacks in a sundown town, Jews in Germany, or hysterical fixation with Nazis among certain progressives in America right now that's very fascist like, and that has not much to do with what you really do or who you really are. It's a social class. The most fascinating thing about this capacity of human beings, where they have a class they hate, right? So in the South in the past, that was blacks in sundown towns. In Germany, that was Jews, the eternal Jew, the class they hate. And in certain places, it's Nazis, but they don't really hate Nazis. They hate this mythical social class of a Nazi, this secret, scheming evil, like the eternal Jew, that is always constantly doing harm. So secret, you can't really see it. You have to torture it out. But there's this class of Nazi you have to kill and be wary of. Or among MAGAs, it would be gang member Hispanics, right? So even if it looks like they're just regular people who practice Christianity like you, they're Catholic. You just have to know that in secret, many of these people are gang members harming you, right? So there's the gang member Hispanic class for MAGAs, and the frogs have the class of Nazi. There's a secret Nazi all around you, right? The most interesting thing about this is not that humans can make a religious, like mythical social class they hate, because it's obvious they can do that. They can believe in a snake that eats them. They can believe in a war god. They can believe in a water god. They could believe in all kinds of crazy shit that they just know is out there going to get them. So that humans can make a mythical class that's out to get them of other people is perfectly consistent with our spirituality religious brain, that we're able to have faith that something scary is out there going to get us, even if you can't see it. You just have to have faith with the group that this thing is out there. Lucifer, um, the trickster god. Sorry about that. That doesn't surprise me. I can completely see humans doing that. But the more interesting thing to me is how people can see evidence their social classes are not real and still believe in them, right? So they'll make exceptions, like the exception thing. Like I just saw this story of this woman, right? She had such an unusual history. Her mom was in a bad way and she was going to have an abortion. And they were in Houston, Texas, which is obviously more liberal leaning and progressive. And the bartender was a gay man, and she was pouring her heart out. She's pregnant. She's going to get an abortion. She was drinking, because she has planned to terminate the pregnancy. But the dude who owned the bar, he always wanted a daughter, right? And he saw this opportunity to help her and get a child. So he said to her, I'll help you out. I'll pay for everything. Don't abort the child. I'll take care of her. And so that's what happened. And her mom was black. And the dude who owned the bar was a white dude who was gay. So when he adopted her, he registered her as if he were his biological child. So they put down on the papers that she was white and that he was the biological father. Now, this dude at the time was living in Houston to be in a more progressive community with gay bars and stuff, but he had cancer. So when he got sick again while she was 6 years old, he had to move back to his hometown, which was a super racist place, right? And this place was so racist, it was a sundown town, like no blacks allowed, right? So this is what I find it's not remarkable that he loved her because he was obviously more progressive and he himself was different. So he went to a more tolerant place and wanted a child, and he probably put down she was white just to maintain the illusion that this was his real child, and he might have been partly in the closet himself, even though he owned it. Back in before gays were accepted, they did weird stuff like roommates. Everyone knows they're gay, right? But they would not be open. Like if you're young, I don't think you understand how it was when you were gay back then, right? Like, I'm old enough to remember this kind of shit. Like, even if people were halfway out, they were not out. They didn't go around saying, I'm a gay man. So you would see shit like an aunt with a roommate, and they're not openly saying that they're a lesbian couple. They're roommates forever, right? So what I'm trying to say is back in the day, people who were out and proud and everyone knows they're gay was not a thing. It ranged from totally in the closet to I have a roommate, but I don't say that's my boyfriend. So I think that guy was in that kind of place, which makes sense. Even though he went to Houston, it's probably not the most accepting place in the world. It's just relatively better than the fucking sundown town he was in. So he probably was in a place where he's like, I run this bar, but I don't tell anyone it's a gay bar. And I have a boyfriend, but I don't tell anyone that's my boyfriend. That's my roommate. That like it was weird. Like might ask yourself like why, but it's because until Will and Grace, gay people were not accepted. Like it goes beyond what's going on now, where you young people think when MAGAs say I don't believe in gay people that that's the worst thing that could happen. Like back in the day, it'd be shit like they'll kill you, they'll fire you, ain't nobody gonna protect you. Like what's going on now where you're thinking the worst thing can happen is somebody say I don't agree with that. No, that was like on average. Like it was literally controversial when gay marriage got approved. Like most people until Will and Grace did not agree with that. Most people like in democratic liberal spaces you would not find this, oh, of course we're okay with it. That was not the case. Anyway, so that I'm thinking that's where the boat that guy was in. The reason he wrote all that was to make it seem very realistic that this was his kid because he was like in that in and out, like I'm only halfway out thing. So anyway, the dude gets sick and he goes back to his hometown, which is super aggressive because he needs the help of his family. This is the part where it's remarkable to me. Even though she's in this racist ass town, everybody's white, her entire family embraces her. And they're in this sundown town. And not only did they embrace her, they spoiled her. She was the baby of the family that they all doted on. And I want to keep in mind, this woman's obviously black. I mean, she's light skinned, but there's no way she's passing as white. But in their mind, they reframe this is his child. She's one of us. And so all the regressive shit they probably had just did not apply to her. I feel like it's the best example of how social classes are made up, meaning racists in Texas don't hate black people because they actually don't like black people. Because black is a social class similar to Satan that they hold these myths about. So when presented with an obviously black person, but they're your brother's daughter and they're a sweet little baby, they love her and spoil her. She's not in that class, even though the thing that gets you put in the class of bad black people is just superficial pigment. But the reason they hate that triggers you to be put in the class, but the class takes on this nefarious quality to them. The same thing with Jew in Germany, I'm sure. I'm sure there are plenty of people where it's like, you're not really a Jew, you know? It goes to show how these classes that people hate and are scared of are just like Lucifer. They're a myth existing in the mind through a viral meme contagion, where this is the scary thing after us, it's bad. And it has nothing to do with who that person really is. And people just get put in and taken out based on superficial characteristics. Progs and the eternal Nazi is very similar, right? Like they don't really see the person or what they're really doing in the world. You just get put in this social class based on like say you said something regressive in the past, even if the totality of your life is obviously progressive. They will make it work because they're looking to put people in this class because this function as their form of Satan, right? And all bigotry basically functions like that. That's why fascist brained people are actually very religious, right? Like the same mental machinery involved in scapegoating fascist psychology is intrinsically overlapping with religion. That's why you see like Christian witch hunts and And any form of scapegoating involves religious machineries. You basically create a class of people that function as a mythical god or villain, like religious tales that you totally believe, right? And because it exists in your mind, not the reality of who the person is, you can choose at will to put people or take them out. So when rednecks hate black people, they don't really hate black people. They hate this mythical class that functions as Lucifer to them. Same when Germans hated Jews, and in a lot of ways when Pragues hate Nazis, right? Like they're not actually hating the person because of their deeds. They're hating this mythical, scary thing after them that they put people in the class to substantiate this religious like fear. And that's why fascist psychology overlaps with religious psychology, and scapegoating and religion go hand in hand. So thought that was real interesting because it was the best example of how they don't really hate the people the way they think they do. They actually hate a construct like they hate Lucifer and Satan and love God. And they can choose at will in their mind to put people in and out of that class, even if what they're telling you with their logical brain, I don't like black people. In reality, there's a mythical construct of a black person. So even when presented with somebody who obviously is black, they can choose not to put them in the social class, right? Because the darker skin is just the trigger to think they're part of that Luciferian like class. In the way for progressives and the eternal Nazi, having said something even once is the trigger to be put in the all bad class, right? And it has really nothing to do with who you are or how much a threat you are or anything. They're afraid of demons. They're afraid of Satan. They're afraid of the god of the underworld. It's not real. It exists in their mind, right? And that's exactly why there's not these solid links like who gets put in and who doesn't get put in it, right? Best example ever. As far as these white racists were concerned, this obviously black child was one of them. She doesn't belong in that class. She's in fact the best child in the family because she's the baby of their deceased brother, who they probably were in denial was gay too. Yeah. Scapegoating's wild. It's a lot like religion. It really has nothing to do with reality, but constructs that mimetically, virally travel between groups of humans that they all agree upon. These things are after us. These gods are saving us, and they just practice it and worship it like religion. Pretty interesting, right?